Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you for a worst albums of 2023 video. I was trying to do this video last night, but problem was my audio quality was cutting out. So I'm gonna try this again for the first part of the worst albums of 2023 video, which is a two-part video. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but I'm gonna try to make it a little lengthy, but make it enjoyable for you guys to enjoy it. So I'm going to discuss from 32 to whatever number I get to off this list that I'm going to talk about and let you know my thoughts on it. So let's dive into this worst albums of 2023 end of the year video. So at number 32 is Janelle Monáe, and sorry about the background noise, that's my phone because I had to update it. Janelle Monáe with The Age of Pressure. I was a little disappointed with this album. I was hoping to like it, but there was something about it that just didn't connect with how she was singing some of the tracks and all that. So this was a letdown. So I picked it at number 32 because it seemed fair enough to put it at the very top of the list. So at least it was not the most disappointing, but it was disappointing with how it overall was produced and all that. So, yeah, number 32 was Janelle Monáe with The Age of Pressure. Number 31 is Icona Pop with Club Romantic. There was one song on the album called Stick Your Tongue Out and Spa. Well, two actually. And those were the worst tracks to ruin the record. And some of the other tracks were average, okay, and as a whole was very disappointing, and I just wasn't a fan of this Icona Pop record, so it made it at number 31. So at number 31 is Icona Pop with Club Romantic. I was very disappointed, even with the singing too. It just was like, hit or miss. Number 30 is Depeche Mode with Memento Mori. I was very disappointed with this record. I was hoping to like this album, but there was something about it I couldn't connect with. I was originally going to give it a 6 out of 10, but I was like, nah, I don't think it deserves it. So at number 30 is Depeche Mode with Memento Mori. I was very disappointed with this record, and I never really came back to this album afterwards. Number 29 is Paramore with R.E. This Is Why remix. This is a remix album for their album This Is Why that came out earlier this year. I thought that was an average album, but the remix version to it was crap. I was really disappointed with this because of the news sounding really cringy with its production and mixing, and running out of time was that version to it. The Panda Bear version to it was not very good. So, Panda Bear, I meant to say. So, pretty much this is going to be at the number 29 spot. It was not the most disappointing, but it was disappointing. It still was a terrible record. The remix version to it, so yep, I think I gave it a 5.5 out of 10, and it's still gonna get that rating. So number 29 is Paramore with R.E. This Is Why remix. Number 28 is Ray Shremmerd with Shrem for Life. They had a song with a feature artist named Young Thug in that song, and that was crap. That song, I think, was track number 2 on the album, and it was not very good. Hotties was not very great. Origami Hotties, or whatever the song's called. It was okay, but it wasn't fantastic. And Too Many Emotions song wasn't bad, but that was the only song I could be like, it was solid. So overall, Ray Shremmerd's Shrem for Life was a disappointing record, and I don't recommend checking this album out. I had to endure listening to this album, and it was pretty cringy. So, at number 28 is Ray Shremmerd with Shrem for Life. Number 27 is Jason Mraz with Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride. I was very disappointed with the Feel Like Dancing song. I Feel Like Dancing was crap. I didn't like how he was singing it. It sounded too cheesy and corny, and just the way the overall album sounded overall, it was just very disappointing of a record. So I was a little disappointed with Jason Mraz on this album. So at number 27 is Jason Mraz with Mystical, Magical, Rhythmical, Radical Ride. I was just not feeling for this album. It was garbage. Number 26 is Post Malone with Austin. I was not really feeling for this album either. There were some tracks on the album that I could say are okay, but majority-wise, this album did suck. It was a 5.5 out of 10, I believe I gave it. And it wasn't the worst album of the year, but it is on the bad albums of this year. So I know when I reviewed it, a lot of people were trashing me over the review. I'm like, hey, it's my opinion. So if you don't like it, then why'd you watch? So basically, number 26 is Post Malone with Austin. I was very disappointed with this record, and I just didn't see myself coming back to it after that. Number 25 is Jack Harlow with Jackman. It was a short album, but it wasn't a good, well-executed album. It was crap. I think for 10 songs, I was really disappointed with this record. So, yeah, I think it was 10 songs. I can't remember. I just forgot about this record as the year went on. Excuse my yawning. I'm a little tired today. But still, Jack Harlow Jackman was at my number 25 spot. Very disappointed with this record and not something I came back to. So it was the most disappointing of the 5.5 out of 10 ratings for this section of the worst albums. So at number 24 is Group Love with I Want It All Right Now. This record was bad. I didn't see myself liking this album. All was the only song I could tolerate. Everything else was garbage. And Hello was cringy with how it sounded, and their vocals didn't sound great in this song, so I was not feeling for this record. So this is a basic 5 out of 10, so pretty much, yeah, this album was not good. At number 23 is Marshmello with Sugar Poppy. This album wasn't very good, and only because some of the Spanish songs were basically garbage. Some of them were. Not all of them. There was just some mumbling Spanish rapping in it that I couldn't get on board with, and overall, this track didn't really do it as a whole. So this album didn't do it. Sorry if I said track. This album didn't do it as a whole because, one, it just didn't connect. So this was a piss poor record in my opinion. I think close to the end of the album, the songs started getting more disappointing. So this was a 5 out of 10. And like I said, excuse my yawning, I'm very tired. I woke up around 10:30ish and I still feel drained. Because I had to go to the post office, and that's why my hair is all messy. Because I had to go outside and go to the post office earlier. But still, number 23 is Marshmello with Sugar Poppy. Number 22 is Mod Sun with God Save the Teen. Honestly, this guy sounds cringy with how he's singing overall. And just the way, yeah. So, basically, just the way how, I just got a text from my boss a moment ago, so sorry about that. Just the way Mod Sun is singing through this album, I was really cringing at how immature, juvenile this album sounds. And this is where I have a problem with some pop punk artists like MGK and Mod Sun and others as well. Avril Lavigne's starting to get into the generic juvenile kind of shit with the pop punk stuff. I mean, I know Travis Barker wanted to do stuff with these artists, but some of their albums were pretty trashy. So, but Travis Barker is a great drummer. Don't get me wrong, but it's just how the songs were executing was the problem with some of these pop punk artists. And I know Lil Lotus is another one that's going to be dropping a new album soon. So, yeah, Mod Sun just, every time I hear his voice, I'm like, this doesn't sound like you, dude. It sounds like you're using auto-tune with your vocals. I don't know. I haven't seen him live. I don't care to see him live, but honestly, this dude sucks as a singer, and his music is trash. So that's why I put him at the number 22 spot, because it wasn't in the top 20, but it was in the top 30. So basically, at number 22 is Mod Sun with God Save the Teen. This album was crap, and I don't recommend you guys listening to it. Number 21 is Andre 3000 with New Blue Sun. I just reviewed this album last night or the other night, and most likely I was disappointed with this album because of him not rapping in it. There's just some instrumentation with the instruments, and it just didn't strike me as great. So I was very disappointed with this album overall, and it was only 88 minutes. Well, it's still pretty long. Let's just be honest there. Let's just say it like it is. The album was too dull. It was too boring. It sounded like it was, I don't know, falling asleep kind of music with the instruments. I mean, it sounded nice to a degree, but the problem is the execution. So this album didn't execute. So at number 21 is Andre 3000 with New Blue Sun. I was really disappointed with his album. Very disappointed. And this was a bad record. Number 20 is Taylor Swift with 1989 Taylor's version. Shake It Off is one of the worst songs for this album. And Out of the Woods was like, hit or miss. I didn't hate that song. I think that song was the only one I could tolerate. Style was kind of decent. And Blank Space is just cringy with the lyrics. I don't care for the lyrics. Welcome to New York is alright. That was probably one of the songs that I could say, okay, it's not bad. But overall, the 1989 Taylor's version was crap, and I don't recommend you guys listening to it. It's 22 tracks or 23 tracks of bullshit. Can't remember how many songs, but basically, it was just crap. So at number 20 is Taylor Swift with 1989 Taylor's version. Number 19 is 30 Seconds to Mars with It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day. This is one of their worst albums to date. It's worse than America, their 2018 album that I really couldn't get on board with some of the tracks. But overall, that wasn't a terrible album. It was just meh. And sorry about my tiredness. I'm just really tired. I gotta try to wake myself up mostly. So basically, 30 Seconds to Mars, It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day. Some cringy ass lyrics. Stuck was the most annoying track for this album. I'd give that now a 2 out of 5. I wasn't caring for this track. I mean, the verses were fine. The chorus and the breakdown in the chorus is crap. Is mostly crap because the electronics taking over the whole chorus of the track and the nah da 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 thing that Jared Leto does. It's like, dude, be original and go back to your rock shit. This pop shit is not working out for you guys, and you need to give it up if you're gonna keep going down this route. Like, hang the towel, hang up the towel for this band mostly because you guys are going downhill with your music, with how you're sounding nowadays. Lost These Days is the most cringiest song from this album. Never Not Love You was, I know I reviewed this 2 months ago, but honestly, I had to abbreviate the title of the album I was reviewing for 30 Seconds to Mars. Hopefully you enjoyed that review because honestly, it was the worst fucking album I've listened to this year. It was a 5 out of 10 worst album. So, yeah, it made it in my top 20, and at number 19 is 30 Seconds to Mars with It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day. There were a few songs I could say are alright, but overall, the album as a whole was crap. At number 18 is Carly Rae Jepsen with The Loveliest Time. I had a lot to talk about with the last album because I've heard majority of the songs in and out. This album was bullshit. Honestly, Carly Rae Jepsen's vocals sound cringy and cheesy, and this album didn't do it for me. I was very disappointed with the outcome and how it sounded overall, mixing wise, and how she sounded. So this was a crappy album. So Carly Rae Jepsen at number 18 with Carly Rae Jepsen, The Loveliest Time. Number 17 is Blue October with Spinning the Truth Around Part 2. Very disappointed with this record. Sideways was one of the worst songs. There were a few other songs that were iffy, but Down Here Waiting and All I See Is You were the only songs I could say are alright. The third track on the album is kind of boring and didn't really offer enough, and the fourth track just didn't do it either. The fifth song was okay. The sixth song was not bad. But overall, Waiting for a Miracle, I think, was one of the songs. That one was kind of just not very good. But I can't remember all the track lists. I deleted that album after I listened to it from my phone. I just wasn't crazy for it. Sorry, I had to pop my neck. Yeah, I wasn't crazy for Blue October's new album. I think Part 2 was the worst. Part 1 was better. Part 2 is cringy. So, Sideways is the worst song because he says, make money, fuck you. I'm like, the lyrics are stupid and nonsensical. Like, it doesn't make sense. Mostly is what I'm trying to mean by that. So basically, number 17 is Blue October with Spinning the Truth Around Part 2. Number 16 is Suicide Silence with Remember You Must Die. This album sucked big time. I didn't like the screaming and the juvenile lyrics through most of Suicide Silence's new album was crap. This album is one of the worst things that's ever come out this year. I wouldn't say it's the worst, but it is bad. So at number 16 is Suicide Silence with Remember You Must Die. Number 15 is Melanie Martinez with Portals. I didn't like Nymphology. That song fucking sucked. This album fucking sucked. And this is an atrocious mess of an album. And I heard some things about her, I guess, raping a transgender fan or whatever of hers. And that's pretty fucked up. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. But I'm still doing my research on that before I do a video about that. But overall, I just don't see myself liking Melanie Martinez, Portals. This album was crap, and it's one of the worst things that's come out this year. It made it at the top 15. So, number 15 is Melanie Martinez with Portals. Doja Cat, Scarlet, Demons was crap. This song sucked big time. The only song was the 9th track on the album that I actually could appreciate and say is alright. I mean, Doja Cat is not a great artist anymore because she basically said she doesn't give a fuck about her fans, and that's pretty fucked up. Like, why would you say that? Like, if you apologize for it, that's fine. But honestly, why the fuck would you say that? Because that's going a little too far. But overall, Doja Cat Scarlet is a bad album. I wasn't crazy for this album. This album had the most cringiest songs from it. So at number 14 is Doja Cat with Scarlet. Number 13 is Jason Aldean with Highway Desperado. This album was crap. Didn't like it. And overall, Try That in a Small Town was one of the worst songs to come out for this album. The song is ridiculous with the lyrics. And the rest of the album, I think there was a few songs I thought were alright, but overall, Jason Aldean is an idiot, and his music is trash nowadays. So, number 13 is Jason Aldean with Highway Desperado. I'm gonna have to come back at you for another part of this worst albums of 2023 video. I hope you enjoyed the first part, and I'll see you in the next part, which will be part 2 of worst albums of 2023 video. So I'll see you then.